Oh, yeah. Thank you for tuning in to 107.7 to 7, the PPL station, where you don't need your Glock, but you do need a lot of soul. Yeah, that's right. You need imagination. That's right. You need imagination, you need invasion, and you need soul. If you're going to pop that popcorn, you better do it live, and you better know what you're going to do it to. So if you don't do it right, you put that popcorn for no reason. Then what you stuck with? Sticky, salty mouth. Nothing to wash it down with. It's a shitty, stinky movie. You don't want that. I don't want that. That's why I'm going to tell you what to get your mouth sticky and salty for by eating the popcorn and watching the thing that you enjoy and you like it. That's right. We're going to go over some films. We're going to go over some news. Everything that I say is by my personal opinion. No one has told me to say otherwise. Just know that I am not a scholar. No siree. I'm not a scholar, but I will make you holler for $1. All right. I think we're about ready to wrap up this stupid opening and get started. Make sure you like and subscribe. Oh, hi. Hello. Hi. Hello. Hi. Hi. And welcome to the popcorn. Popcorn. Poppin. Popcorn. Popcorn. Poppin. I have the hair in my mouth. I think it's from my mustache. Welcome back to Popcorn Poppin' Live, your weekly streaming movie and TV guide. You don't have time to figure out what to watch. There's too much content in the world, and you can't be wasting your time. So let me waste my time for you by watching all that looks vaguely interesting and advising you on what's poppin' and what ain't. Before we go into what is poppin' and what ain't, I shall also remind you to go to the watch party. By the way, I'm Popcorn Poppy. Come to the watch party with Popcorn Poppy. I will not be hosting this, but I'll put together this little group of really, really dope individuals. Julia LaBest, or AKA Julia LaBeast, along with Bryce the Huffman, the host of Movies at 2 a.m. podcast, along with John the Do Man, Fart Gun Doer, and Jimmy fucking Murray. We're going to be watching the first episode of The Boys on June 1st at the Black Box Theater in Hamtramck, and it is free. We are giving away free pop, free snacks. I almost said popcorn, but we're not going to give away popcorn. We're giving away free pop, snacks, and a free viewing, and a free discussion about what we just watched, what we hope to see in the future, and play some games, and you can win a prize or two. So for more information, go to planetant.com or message me, and I'll give you more info on that. But it is free, and we will be watching on June 1st the first episode, and then the following Saturday we'll be watching the season finale of last season, and then the following week we'll be watching the season premiere of the new The Boys season coming out in June. So be sure to look out for that. I will be updating as we go. You might even see some advertisements for it as well. But no show this weekend, so enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. In fact, maybe you'll enjoy it with the movie. Maybe you want to watch a movie that came out last week. But what came out last week? Two movies come to mind. But before we get to that, just a real quick note on a film that you can't see anymore. But it is an excellent animated adult film. That sounded like I'm talking about porn. It's not. There's no porn in it. I don't even think there's a titty or two, but it is like adult themes, and it's an animation. It's called Mars Express. All right. I thoroughly enjoyed this film. It is popping for sure. The end is pretty dark, and I'm not sure if I would have preferred it, but it is basically like a mystery noir type, a futuristic type film. And it's done by French people, which I'm sure they will do an American adaptation where they'll give American voices to the same animation, which the only reason I'm down for that is because more people will see this movie, and I think more people need to see this movie. I can't tell you where I watched it because I don't support pirates. Not to say that I am a pirate or went to a pirating site, but it's not in theaters right now. I don't even think you can rent it right now. I do think that this movie will have a live action adaptation, and I'm super stoked for that. I would even love to take on an adventure and a venture to do so, but that seems like really difficult work. So if you're interested, it's about Aline Ruby and her partner who are hired by a businessman to track down a hacker because they are PIs in the future. On Mars, they explore the planet's capital city where they find a missing girl who holds a secret about the robots that threaten to change the face of the universe. I forgot. A big event happens that's very like iRobot-esque. So I highly, highly recommend this film if you're into animation, adult animation, not porn, and just a really cool story. The way that they perceive what the future will look like years down the line is actually pretty cool, and things you've never thought of as well, but things that we could absolutely achieve. So if you get a chance somehow, not telling you to pirate, but you should check this film out. It's called Mars Express. What was the new movie in theaters? The biggest movie in theaters right now is IF, which stands for Imaginary Friends, written and directed by John Krasinski himself, starring Ryan Reynolds and the voice of Steve Carell, amongst others. A tale about a young girl who goes through a difficult experience to begin to see everyone's imaginary friends who have been left behind as their real-life friends have grown up. What did I think of this film? Poppin' or not? Came in with very low expectations. I saw the trailer and I was like, this is definitely geared more towards children for sure. Although when I watched the trailer, I'm like, yeah, this has to be like children humor because this isn't funny to me at all. And watching the film, it is not very funny. It's a comedy and it's like, oh, imagination. Like it's all that. But like, it's just not funny. Like there's this long scene in the trailer and in the movie where she goes, don't say if. And he goes, does funny noises, and Ryan Reynolds goes, you better say it or else he's just going to keep doing this. And this is me being a little bit of a hater because I don't have kids, but I was like, that's not funny. And no one in the theater laughed at that. But people were, and I got to chill out on the butts. I just love butts, and I cannot lie. However, a lot of people did laugh in the theater. At least older women, I noticed, laughed a lot at this movie. I laughed a few times. There was one or two scenes that I was really, really cracking up, and I can't really name what they are because my overall sensation when watching the film was a little bit emotional. I will say John Krasinski knows how to pull at heartstrings. If you haven't seen his work before, he did Quiet Place and Quiet Place 2. So he knows how to do horror, and he's also done a film called The Hollers, which co-stars Charlie Day. I can't remember who else is in that, but you can rent that for $4. Check out The Quiet Places, which you can check out on Paramount Plus. He's very good at horror, so it was interesting for him to take a stab at a family film. And here's my review of it. I loved it for what it was more than what it appears to be. When you watch the trailer, you think that it's all kind of like face value, like a girl discovers these imaginary friends and blah, blah, blah. However, filmmaking wise, I got to hand it to John Krasinski. The music was a little much. When it comes to films that are geared towards the family, specifically the children, they will set you up with mood music like bloom, 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 bloom. Like this means that we're happy. Bloom, bloom, bloom. Oh, that means we're scared of getting caught because we're sneaking up to the house. Bloom, 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 bloom. Okay, everything's all right. You get what I mean. So there's a lot of mood music in this. And sometimes it really, really hits, but most of the time it's a little annoying. Again, this is coming from a single non-father who is 32-ish and can't really relate to the film in that aspect. I just truly believe that you parents, if you went to see this, you would know what I mean by that being like, okay, I get it. In any case, they kept the perspective to the little girl very, very well, where she's uncovering this mystery that she's trying to figure out. And I think they did a really good job with it. The little girl was adorable. Ryan Reynolds is funny as always, even though the movie's not that funny, but he is charismatic Ryan Reynolds. And a lot of cool like cameo voices, such as George Clooney and Blake Lively and Sam Rockwell. So I enjoyed that. However, when I'm watching this, I'm like, this is okay. Like, from what is happening, from what it appears to be. There's one long sequence where she is creating an imaginary land for Ryan Reynolds' character. And Ryan Reynolds is kind of like running around, and he's like, oh, no more imagination, no more fun. And to watch that as it's happening, you're like, why is he so against this? This doesn't make that much sense. And it's a long scene, but it is a little bit enjoyable. By the way, I saw in the opening credits, I didn't look up if it is the same Mandy Moore, but apparently Mandy Moore did the choreography. I wonder if that's the same Mandy Moore or not. There's only one sequence of dancing. In any case, Poppin or not, it sounds like I'm talking a lot of shit, but I had to get the shit talking out of the way first and tell you the positives. I sweated it from my eyeballs just 2 or 3 times. I think twice. I'm going to say twice, which is really fucking annoying because, like, I could see in my periph someone sitting, like, that could see me, and I can feel the light shining on me from the film, so I didn't want them to see anything, so I was just kind of like, oh, no, fuck. I wasn't weeping, just sweated from my eyeballs a bit, because this movie does show a lot of heart. John Krasinski said he wanted to make a live-action Pixar film. He succeeded. They did the eyes. They did it all. And that is because it is a tale about a crazy little girl. And it is very, very, what's the word? It's very, like, inspiring and all that shit. How you can't grow up without that little bit of an imagination inside that can help you become the person that you should be and not be scared and stuff like that. Bobby Moynihan from SNL, excellent actor, specifically with comedy. I don't think I've seen him do any drama yet, although I think he's done like a little less silly comedies before. He played a non-comedic role in this, and it's one scene, and his character has a lot of anxiety about getting to an interview, and basically our gang here is following him and trying to help him reconnect with his imagination to help give him courage. And Bobby Moynihan just fucking nailed it. And it sounds silly. I don't think he had any lines in it too. I was very, very impressed with that, Bobby. So really, really good job on that. No joke. I was very, very impressed. So it is Poppin. If you have a family, I guess you should take your family to go see it. If you have kids and you want to go to the strip club, drop them off at the movie theater. Tell them 2 tickets for it, 1 for them, 1 from their friend, whilst you go to Legends. It's Poppin. It's definitely not something I would watch again because I don't want to cry again. However, it is very well made, and there's like a secret that the kids won't understand that you will be able to understand, because you're wondering the whole time, like, why is this little girl hanging out with this grown man all the time? And why isn't anyone talking to this grown man? So you kind of figure out certain things. And I thought that was like blatantly obvious, but I think it's obvious on purpose to the adults to not only watch their children maybe react to the twist, but to also understand why John Krasinski's doing this. It's a story so the little girl's character loves hearing stories from her mom, and we're watching a story unfold that you would think that her father would tell her, and her father is played by John Krasinski. So do the math, the writer and director of the movie. So I thought that's a pretty dope thing you did, John. I am very excited for you to write and direct more films. Keep doing different genres, because I think you're nailing the overall board of not persevering. What's it called? Help me out. It's a word where you can do a lot of different things. I don't know. You can figure it out. Robin Floyd said, "Ah, thank you for the cuteness." Now, what other films are there? He can do genres. The fact that he can do horror and family is very impressive, even though they're both family films in a way. If you've seen A Quiet Place, see A Quiet Place, at least the first one. It's on Paramount Plus. Anyways, What other films have imaginary friends? Now, we could talk about certain huge films. There's one that comes to mind that involves fisticuffs and two rules being you can't talk about it. But that would be a big spoiler. There are a lot of movies where the twist is they have an imaginary friend. And it's a twist. So I don't want to go over my favorite films that have imaginary friend twists. I will talk about the ones that are the audience knows from the jump that they're not real. For instance, Ryan Reynolds has done a few imaginary friend films. For one, he did The Voices. The Voices is about a mentally unhinged factory worker who must decide whether to listen to his talking cat and become a killer or follow his dog's advice to keep striving for normalcy. One thing that's fun about this film is Ryan Reynolds does the voice of the cat and the dog, and I think of someone else too. But I'm shocked. This movie, I don't even know if it was released in theaters. Like, not many people I know have seen this film, but it's really good, and it's dark. It's a dark comedy. It's got a dark ending with even though upbeat credit roll, even more of a dark ending. I highly recommend to watch this. Ryan Reynolds is not only very good in it, we got Anna Kendrick as well. And it's if you like dark comedies, check this out. Ryan Reynolds did a good job. It's on Prime right now, The Voices. Another imaginary friend film that Ryan Reynolds has done alongside with Jeff Daniels is The Paperman, about a frustrated novelist who begins to depend less on his imaginary friend when he forms a unique bond with a Long Island teenager. And I believe that Long Island teenager is played by Emma Stone, if I'm not mistaken. It is. Emma Stone's pretty good in it as well. Jeff Daniels is a very underrated actor, especially when it comes to comedy. We'll talk about Man in Full in a second. This film was okay. It had one little twist that I kind of sort of didn't see coming, but I dig it. And there's not as much Ryan Reynolds as you would think, but the story's still interesting enough for you to take a gander if you'd like. If you'd like to, it's on Tubi. Mr. Brooks. This is one of my favorite on the list, if not my favorite one on the list. Very underrated film. It was supposed to be a trilogy that I think the first movie just didn't sell, so not many people saw it. It was called Mr. Brooks. Not a comedy. There are some funny moments in it. Kevin Costner plays a well-respected businessman who is sometimes controlled by his murder and mayhem-loving alter. His imaginary friend is played by William Hurt, and it's so good, guys. It's really, really good. It's not a comedy, but Dane Cook's in it, and Dane Cook's actually pretty good in it as well. Very good film. He's like a very well and successful businessman with a loving wife and a what seems to be on her way smart and good daughter. And he was a serial killer, like a famous serial killer that was never caught, and he retired. But William Hurt, his dark side, his dark passenger, if you will, Dexter reference, comes out and be like, hey, we got to kill again, guy. And he goes, okay, fine, one more, but everything goes wrong. Check this movie out. I really, really love this movie. They were going to make two more, and I'm kind of glad that they didn't, but I would have watched the fuck out of them. It's very good. Mr. Brooks. You can rent it right now. It's worth the rent. It's worth the rent. Youth in Revolt, starring Michael Cera, who plays his imaginary friend. It's basically the successful, cool version of the character himself. While his trailer trash parents teeter on the edge of divorce, Nick Twisp sets his sights on dream girl Sheenie Saunders, hoping that she'll be the one to take away his virginity. So it kind of sounds like a late 90s, early aughts film, a coming-to-age tale that's specifically for, like, the frat boys, but it isn't. It's for, like, the weird kids that never got the girl. I think this movie was... I gotta remember, it's over there, Tony. I think this movie was underrated. I like Michael Cera a lot, and this was a fun film. You can check it out on Tubi if you'd like. Jojo Rabbit. You've heard about this film a bunch of times. Popcorn Poppin may have been around when this movie came out. I'm sure it was. You can rent it right now. It's with Taika Waititi about a young German boy in the Hitler Youth whose hero and imaginary friend is the country's dictator. Guess who? And is shocked to discover that his mother is hiding a Jewish girl in their home. Very well-made film. Taika Waititi, I believe, won a Academy Award for Best Adapted Screenplay for this film. It is a comedy, but it has some sad scenes. I'll tell you that much. It also co-stars Scarlett Johansson. Very great in it, by the way. I don't know if she got nominated for Jojo Rabbit, but I do know she got nominated that year. She should have got nominated for this, too. Castaway, you know what this movie is. Probably the most well-known imaginary friend film. But who says Wilson's imaginary? I keep forgetting that. Oh, I almost said a spoiler, but it's got a sad ending for Wilson. You can check out Castaway on Hulu. Lars and the Real Girl, a Ryan Gosling early day comedy where he's not as silly as you see him like in Barbie or Fall Guy or The Nice Guys. But he plays like a real reserved character who has a sex doll who he believes is real. And that is his girlfriend. Can't remember her name. And I haven't watched this film in a long time. It is an independent film, but I remember it being actually very, very good. I do recommend it. It is on Tubi and co-stars Ryan Gosling. He's not wearing pink and he's not doing his weird stares. It's Ryan Gosling you haven't seen before. No, I don't think you see him fuck the sex doll, but you do see him love the sex doll. And what is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me. No more. Another imaginary friend film, Donnie Darko. We don't have to go into this too far, but basically after narrowly escaping a bizarre accident, a troubled teenager played by early days Jake Gyllenhaal is plagued by visions of a man in a large rabbit suit who manipulates him to commit a series of crimes after telling him that the world is going to end pretty soon. Very mindfucky film that if you think about it in the larger scale of things, you would think, what's the point of the film? Because if these certain events happened, wouldn't it not happen? I don't want to get into it without giving away anything, but this is a cult classic, and you can check it out on Tubi right now. Swiss Army Man. I didn't love this film that much, but if you liked Everything Everywhere All at Once, this is the same directors, the Danielses. It stars Paul Dano and Daniel Radcliffe, a.k.a. Harry Potter. A hopeless man stranded on a deserted island befriends a dead body, and together they go on a surreal journey to get home. It is a well-made film. It just wasn't that much for me, but if you like these actors, I would recommend it. You can check it out on Max right now. I'd count this as an imaginary friend film, The Shining. You already know what The Shining is, and if you haven't seen it, fucking rent it. Don't wait till October. Watch it now. But this kid's imaginary friend, the imaginary friend's name is Tony. So am I stuck in the hotel in this kid's hand trying to tell him to murder? Time will tell. Wilfred. So this is a special one because it's a TV show. Really great writing. It is hard to binge, but I highly recommend to try this show because it is a mystery about why he's seeing this. Elijah Wood's character is about to commit suicide, and he starts to see a man in a dog suit. And it turns out that it's his new neighbor's dog, who he only sees as a man in a suit who talks to him. And he's from like Australia, and no one else can hear him talk. They just think it's a regular dog. There's a mystery to it and why he's seeing this guy in a dog suit. It's very, very funny, and it is very dark at times, but each season kind of ends on a cliffhanger. And the last two seasons, you're like, yo, what the fuck? Like, not Lost level, like, what the fuck? Or Game of Thrones level, what the fuck? But it is like, I need to know what happens next. It's a pretty good mystery. I recommend checking it out on Hulu. Underrated show. All right. Let's be quick about this. I fucking walked out of the movie theater. And what movie am I talking about? The Strangers Chapter 1. This is the third Strangers movie. So I decided, hey, I'll rewatch The Strangers, and I'll even try Strangers Pray at Night, both of which you can watch on Max right now. First Strangers is a classic. I think it was a little overrated because all they did was rely on taking out mood music and having a person stand in the middle of your house as you're washing dishes and looking almost towards them, but then not towards them. However, it made the killers more sinister because they kind of didn't care if they were seen. They were just fucking around with their prey, as you could say. Liv Tyler was in the first one, and she was really, really good. I was hoping that this new film was going to maybe somehow have her, because you don't necessarily see her die at the end. She's totally, maybe she could or not be dead. Watch The Strangers on Max. if you're looking for a good date movie or just having a movie on in the background, because there's a lot of long shots of like nothing. But it was better than this. Before we get to it, The Strangers Pray at Night. You can see me sweating because I turned off my air conditioner just so I can talk to you without hearing the air conditioner. So applaud me on how hot I am. Did I just give myself a compliment? I think I did. Wink. The Strangers Pray at Night is the second film that's also on Max with Christina Hendricks, nonetheless. And I remember seeing the trailer and being like, that movie looks terrible. It was actually fairly well made, and it had the same director as the previous film. And it has a really like decent ending. I highly recommend, if you liked The Strangers or felt indifferent about it, just try The Strangers Pray at Night. It's much more of a regular horror movie, but it has its moments where you're like, wow, that's pretty good filmmaking. Specifically a scene in a pool, but I won't give away too much. And the girl in it is the daughter is so annoying. She's one of those people where if the killer's knocking on the window while she's looking for keys, she's like, knock, knock, knock. There's the killer. Bitch, look or go. Don't. He's right there, isn't he? It's so stupid. And it's not suspenseful. It's unrealistic. Who would do that? Fucking go. It's a frustrating movie, but it's better than this piece of shit garbage. So, everyone's entitled to their opinions. I am not saying it's fact, but I will factually repeat myself. This movie's shit. I walked out of it maybe a little more than halfway through. And here's where its excuse is. I found out previously that it's directed by Rennie Harlin, who did Die Hard 2. And I think he did a couple other horror films, but I'm not going to look up what he did. This film's chapter 1. There is chapters 2 and 3 that are set to come out in like the next year or two. I don't know if they will. Depends how much money they make. I hope it bombed at the box office because it's not good. But another reason it's not good is they shot the whole trilogy in 56 days back to back. Day 1, they started with chapter 1. And then by day 56, they finished filming for chapter 3. So that is extremely impressive. Don't get me wrong. That is very impressive. But I knew, this movie is not going to have something. And I watched it and I figured out what they forgot to have. Substance. This movie has zero substance. Everything that you've seen is something you've seen before. When I complained about it online, someone goes, is this worse than Madam Web? Madam Web may be a garbage film, but it's enjoyable garbage. It's a trash fire you like to watch. This shit, God, it's over here. This shit is not enjoyable. So just know that. And don't waste your time. Get a Max prescription. Prescription. I prescribe you Max. And watch Strangers and Strangers Pray at Night. This is not a good movie. It's not. I'm so mad at this. I'm so mad at you. All right, what is next? Home invasion films is a genre of horror films that you see in a lot. And you may see some that are in this list that you're going to see in a second. But the reason I made this subgenre is because I honestly like this subgenre of film. And it makes me feel strange, like you like home invasion films. I don't want to home invade, and I don't want to be home invaded. But that shit would be fucking terrifying if that happened. What would you do? Probably better shit than what these people do. But other films do a pretty good job with it. Like what, you may ask? Funny Games is a remake, a shot-by-shot remake of German, like Funny Games, German or something. Same writer and director, but he decided to do it in English. And it stars Naomi Watts and Tim Roth, where they come to their family home and two strangers appear. I think they look like tennis players, but they're like, yeah, we're looking for our friend. And they let them in and, home invasion shit happens. Very downer ending, but very well-made film. I don't recommend the very first one. I just like the remake. And another reason I'm mentioning this film is my grandma, R.I.P., she would surprise you because she's like the most loving, adorable grandma. But she loved this movie, which is super weird. Like she was like, oh, it's just so sad. But it's very good film. So you can rent this online right now. Kidnapped. This is another foreign film. I don't know if it's made in Spain or what, but I'm currently rewatching it now. It's dark, guys. It's very dark. And I wouldn't call it kidnapped because it is home invasion, but technically they are like held captive. I'd call it captive. And so basically a family's chilling in their new house. 3 dudes come in with masks and they tell them to get out their credit cards. They take all their shit, but they take the dad out to max out the credit cards from the ATM. Meanwhile, other shit happens at the house. It is very well made. A lot of shot. There's a limited amount of shots because there's a lot of long takes, which is very impressive. There is some heavy, shocking violence, but very well made film. You can check it out on Tubi right now. Panic Room. You can't go wrong with David Fincher. You can go wrong with Jodie Foster. No offense, Jodie, but I fucking hated the new season of True Detective. You were great in it, though. You can go wrong with Kirsten, the Stewart chick, but I like her now because she's pretty dope. I like her. She's pretty good in this, too. But you can't go wrong with David Fincher, and you can't go wrong with Forrest Whitaker and Jared Leto. What a fucking cast. It all takes place in one night, which is super dope. So did Kidnapped and Funny Games. That's the other thing I like about home invasion films is a lot of them take place in one day. And I think that those movies are really, really cool because that keeps you like more in tune with what's going on. Bright Blades Plays says, thought experiments, Amy. I don't know what that means, but let me know further if you could. Panic Room. If you haven't seen it yet, they buy a new house and there's a panic room there. And Forrest Whitaker and Jared Leto try to come in and rob the house, but Jodie Foster and Kristen Stewart go into the panic room and they lock it. However, they need to get inside the panic room for what they want. And that's the mystery. One thing that you do uncover is Forrest Whitaker's character. He's a thief in it, and he helped make that panic room, or he knows how to develop panic rooms. Extremely well-made film, specifically cinematography and acting. A lot of people were indifferent to like the third act. I still enjoyed it. Check it out. If you like good filmmaking, come on. It's David Fincher. What other good home invasion films are there? Knock, knock. Who's there? Keanu Reeves, Ana de Armas, and Eli Roth's wife. Keanu Reeves plays a rich guy. His family leaves for vacation, but you know, it's Keanu Reeves. I'm Keanu Reeves. I would never cheat on my wife, except on a very rainy evening. 2 extremely hot girls show up to their door like, oh, can we come in? It's raining. Our car broke down. They come in. Whoa, it's really storming out there. I'll call you guys a taxi. Oh, we could just stay the night here. They end up fucking. But he can't get the girls to leave. It's ridiculous, and I've heard people like hate it. I love the movie. It gets silly. Like the final shot of Keanu Reeves is, I was laughing so hard, even though what's happening to him is very, very terrible. It was very funny to me. Check out Knock Knock. It is a ride. You can't deny that it's a ride. You cannot. Bright Blade Plays says, home invasion flicks are thought experiments. Am I right? Thank you very much, Bright Blade Plays. I'm actually not very good at acronyms when it comes to the interwebs, so I'm glad I know a new one, AMI. Yeah, absolutely. That's a very well put thought, actually. And that's kind of what I mentioned earlier, and that might be more of a reason why I like them. Thought experiment-wise of what would you do in this situation, what could go wrong in this situation, and what the fuck you should do in this situation. I know one that doesn't happen in The Strangers Chapter 1 for so long. Get a goddamn weapon. Anything. Stop standing in the room and hiding behind a door. Like we're already past that. Get a weapon. If you're in peril, get a weapon. This isn't like, hey, go buy a gun. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know gun things. But I do know if someone's in my house, I'm looking for a knife or a blunt object. Bright Blades Blaze says, I knew that from Comfort Inn. I feel you, man. I feel you. All right, next up for the home invasion films. The Collector. Little twist on the home invasion films, actually. If you haven't seen this, it's way better than I thought it was going to be. A thief is hired to rob a house. He gets in While he's in there, another person is there. It's a serial killer that's setting up traps throughout the house. So basically think like Saw, but like delivery. Saw delivery. This guy comes to your house and sets up traps, and then you, the homeowner, comes home and goes into the traps. We're focused on our protagonist, a thief who's robbed the wrong house at the wrong time. Woo. It's really good. There are 2 films. I think there's going to be a third. I can't remember the second film that well, but I remember it being not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Watch the first one on Amazon Prime right now. Hush! Little baby, don't say a fucking word if you didn't like this movie. Mike Flanagan, part of the Flanagan-verse, which is The Fall of the House of the Usher, Haunting of Hill House, Dr. Sleep, the upcoming Dark Tower TV series, cross your fingers, made this film with his wife, who you've seen in all of his works, and she plays a deaf woman who lives like in the middle of nowhere and is being home invaded by someone. I loved this film specifically because me and my friends picked a random movie one night on Netflix, and we didn't know what it was about, and I love home invasion movies. I was very excited. If you do horror right, I love it, and I thought this was very well made. It does drag on a little bit, but it is still worth watching. It's not on Netflix anymore. You have to rent it right now, so check it out. Hush. You're next. You're fucking next. Very fun horror film, beginning to end. I've talked about it at length in previous Halloween episodes. Check it out if you haven't. Rent it. Own it if you want, because every time I watch it, it's super fun. A family goes to a house and they get home invaded. Have you noticed a trend with all these films? Just check it out. I don't want to give away too much because this is also kind of a mystery, but yeah. High tension. I'm not going to tell you one thing about this movie, except hyper violent. So know that. That's all I'll say. I can't say anything else. Just watch it. It was surprising. High tension on Tubi. Very violent, though. All right. We only got a few more of these. No one will save you. Who's the invaders? The invaders. Alien invaders. Most people, forewarning, most people I tell about this movie, and Hush for that matter, they're like, I don't know. This was okay. I thought this was excellent filmmaking. There isn't any dialogue, so that might be one reason people feel a little weird. But it's definitely one of my favorite Alien films because it's aliens doing the basic tropes, but heightened. Yes, they're gray, but they're scary. Yes, they can move things with their mind, but they can do it extremely scary. And Caitlin Dever, excellent up-and-coming actor. She's great in it. And she will also be in the next season of Last of Us playing Abby. So if you want to see who's playing Abby in the new Last of Us, you play the video game, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you haven't played the video game, the second season of Last of Us is going to have an antagonist in it. And this is who the actress is. So check it out. It's on Hulu right now, especially if you like alien movies. Not an alien movie, although I should have added, what is that movie? Nope. I love Nope, but this is definitely different. Us. What if you were invaded by people that look like you? That's all I'll say, because this is another great Jordan Peele mystery with Lupita Nyong'o. And I'm probably mispronouncing it. She's fucking incredible in this film. You can rent it right now. And of course, the OG home invader film, Home Alone. Check it out on Disney Plus. You know what it is. You know what it is. All right, the Limelight shows. There's only one big show that I watched. Big Cigar, that is. Stars Andre Holland as Huey P. Newton, a Black Panther leader who teams up with the Hollywood producer to elude a nationwide manhunt and escape to Cuba, while being pursued by the FBI. Didn't know that Don Cheadle was part of the production of this, specifically executive producing. And I didn't watch the second episode yet, but I did watch the first, and that was directed by Don Cheadle, which is a pretty cool thing too, because he's only directed one film and a few episodes of his old TV show House of Lies, which is pretty good. But Miles Davis film Miles Ahead, I heard iffy things, but I do want to check it out because I knew he starred as Miles Davis. I didn't know he directed the film. So he directed that. Andre Holland, who plays Huey P. Newton, I know him from a show called The Nick. Excellent series that stars Clive Owen, 2 seasons long. I won't get into it, but check it out. Very well done. And this show also stars the Hollywood producer played by Alessandro Navallo, who is in the Many Saints of New York film, which is the Sopranos prequel film that you can watch on Max right now. So Big Cigar, poppin' or not? I'm going to say poppin' for now, but things that I've read online have been mixed reviews because the show doesn't seem to know what its focus is. However, with Huey P. Newton's character's narration, it's very prevalent that he is aware that Hollywood will make this story maybe not as true as it was, which the episode opens up with. Like, this is based on true events, but some things were dramatized. But the narrator himself says, now, some of what you're going to see is real. Some of it didn't happen. Let's see what Hollywood's got in store for us. So in that vein, a lot of the jumping around scenes and narrations are very much Hollywood, very overly produced, and I find that to be on purpose. I never knew this story whatsoever. I knew of the Black Panther Party and Huey P. Newton. I did not know about this Hollywood producer stuff that's trying to help him escape. So, Poppin, because it's very interesting. Poppin because Andre Holland is great in it. So is Alessandro Navallo. But also Poppin because it's a very interesting story. What other Black Panther Party films are there? There's not a lot. And we have been over this several times for Black History Month. But it doesn't hurt to remind Hollywood, hey, why don't you make more movies about the Black Panther Party? For instance, one of our favorites was Judas and the Black Messiah, starring Daniel Kaluuya and Lakeith Stanfield. Excellent film. If you haven't watched it yet, watch it on Max. Night Catches Us, which is on Prime, stars Anthony Mackie and Kerry Washington. How have we not watched this before? Or how have I not watched it? I'll tell you one thing. The trailer, not very good. The movie looks pretty well made, and it does seem like more of a romance and less of like a history lesson. But it does have the complex political and emotional forces which are set in motion when a young man in 1976 returns to the race-torn Philadelphia neighborhood where he came of age during the Black Power movement. Check this out on Prime and let me know how it is. I'll probably check it out for February next year because of Black History Month. But I don't know. I need to watch. The trailer really made me think, I don't know if this is going to be good, but hopefully it is. The last movie that is part of this is the Huey P. Newton story, which stars and was written by Roger Guinevere Smith, and it was directed by Spike Lee. It's basically a one-man show, so you'll really learn the ins and outs of Huey P. Newton. I say Newton weird. I'm going to stop doing that. Huey. So you can check this out on Stars. All right. Another new show that I watched. It wasn't the first episode, but they do have their second season coming out, I believe, May 30th. But you can watch the whole first season right now on Peacock called We Are Lady Parts, which is a look at the highs and lows of the band members that make up a Muslim female punk band, Lady Parts, as seen through the eyes of Amina Hussein, a geeky PhD student who is recruited by their unlikely lead guitarist. Poppin' or not? It's poppin'. It's actually very well made. We watched like episode 4 or 5 called Godzilla, and I thought it was a really good episode to watch, but also our talk back afterwards, we actually came up with a lot of personal connections with the show, which is pretty cool to be black and white American who finds a connection to a British television show about a Muslim lady punk band. It's weird to make connections to that, but there were. So check out the show. It's not too serious either. It's pretty fun, and I dig it. And if watch party sounds pretty interesting to you, June 1st, we're having a watch party again. We're not doing this weekend, but we're doing the first episode of The Boys at 10:30 p.m. That's right. It's at 10:30. You know, I know what you're thinking. Saturday night, I don't want to go watch TV. But there's some shows that are just more fun to watch with your friends and family. The Boys being one of them. Oh, but Tony, I want to smoke weed while I'm watching the show. Well, you can go out in the backyard and smoke weed for free. You bring the weed, but don't smoke in there. Smoke in the backyard. But Tony, I like drinking alcohol when I'm watching TV. Good news, you can grab a to-go drink from the Ghost Light across the street. bring it over, watch the rest of the episode with us. At the end of the episode, the panelist of TV Snobs talks to you, couch potatoes, about what we loved about the episode, what we love about the show, what we don't like about the show, what would make it better, and what makes great television. There'll be laughs, there'll be cries, there will even be prizes. It's free. Come to the Black Box Saturday at 10:30 p.m., June 1st. Thank you. All right. Here are the films. Here are the television. Oh, wait, no, we're on to the news. Okay, cool. We got to go through this quick because, hey, I think I've been doing pretty good. I'm pretty impressed with myself. Okay. So, looks like I didn't make banners for these, but I'll just move quickly. And I'll turn that off. Are we back? All right, we're back. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So, what's going on with the movies? For one, the TV advertising up. So if you haven't heard of upfronts, if you've noticed there's been a lot of news about like new television shows coming out or new movies that are happening, it's because I never heard of this before this year, but they've been doing it for years. It's called upfront, which is TV advertising, an annual period of time in which advertisers and their agencies negotiate and sign year-long deals with TV networks. Blah, 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 blah. So a lot of the news that you're going to see are pulled from Variety, Hollywood Reporter, and Deadline, as always. Thank you very much. And most of the news came from this. One of the things that came out is that I remember I told you that Max, along with two other streaming companies, are going to bundle up. Oh, Max, Disney Plus, and Hulu are going to be available as a bundle coming later this summer. So I think that sounds pretty cool. People's first reaction was, it's just going to be cable TV again. Yeah, so what? You fucking use streaming sites. Granted, not many people love all the things that are on one streaming thing than the other. Me personally, I got them all, baby. I host a show that talks about them all. Comcast, Hulu, and Disney Plus, for one, that announced last week. And then this week, Comcast announced that Netflix, Peacock, and Apple TV Plus will also be available as a streaming bundle later this year. The Deadpool and Wolverine tickets are available right now for pre-sale. I got my ticket. I got Josh's ticket. The first show time is at 3 p.m. at AMC, July 25th. It's a Thursday. I'm leaving work early for this, baby, because I'm very excited. Donnie Yen has been reported to have his own spinoff movie from John Wick 4's character, Kane. Super excited, super stoked, because he is probably the best part of John Wick 4, and that is probably my favorite movie. If you haven't seen John Wick 4 yet, and you haven't seen the rest of them, just watch John Wick. Watch all of them. They're all great, and I'm not lying to you. I wouldn't lie to you, baby. But I will tell you, John Wick 4 is probably my favorite movie, action movie of all time. He's getting his own movie, guys. Edgar Wright, one of my favorite directors, who did Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The World's End, Baby Driver, and Last Night in Soho, is in talks to direct the Barbarella remake film, which may star Sydney Sweeney. I haven't seen Barbarella before. I forgot to look up where you can watch it for now. You can rent it right now. In any case, I'm down. I don't know what Barbarella is about, but judging by the poster, I think I'm going to dig where Edgar Wright's going to take it, and I feel like it's going to be up his alley as well. Hopefully it'll be good. No, nothing official, though. Nothing official. Netflix is making Happy Gilmore 2. Remember, you may have heard it here first. Drew Barrymore had said in an interview that Adam Sandler said that they're working on the script for Happy Gilmore 2. However, it's been in the works for a very long time, except it got more serious, and now they officially announced that Happy Gilmore 2 will be on Netflix probably in 2 years, but I wouldn't be surprised if it came out next month because I don't think they work that hard on their movies. That's no shade thrown intentionally. They don't work that hard on their movies, but that's what makes them so likable. Oh, interesting. Remember Nicolas Cage's appearance as Spider-Man Noir in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, the animated film? Well, it looks like MGM Plus and Prime Video have handed a series order to Noir, a live-action series based on the Marvel comic Spider-Man Noir with Oscar winner Nicolas Cage to star. What dimension are we in? That's super. I mean, that's not very surprising. Nicolas Cage will never cease to surprise me, but I think that's super dope. I'm down to check it out. I think it's going to be fun. He's just old. Like, you can't have him zipping. Like, I feel like he's not even going to be a spider person. He's got to be, though, right? That's the whole point. Anyways, we'll see. Yellowstone has begun filming their final episodes. I stopped watching in the middle of season 3. It just dragged on and on. I heard it didn't get any better. However, there's a lot of controversy about this series. They're going to finish it, guys. So stop freaking out. Vince Vaughn is going to star in a new television series, which is executive produced by Bill Lawrence, who did the Scrubs show. Very good if you haven't seen it. It is called Bad Monkey, where he plays a health inspector in the Keys. It's a Florida crime thriller. We don't have to talk about that. Steve Carell's making a return to television. You may have only remembered him from his recent shows. The Office. He did 2 more after that. Space Force, which was short-lived. I thought it was okay. The cast was awesome. I just didn't think it was the funniest show in the world. But he also did one where he was, I think it was what was it? He was locked in a basement, and he's a therapist, and Domhnall Gleeson wants to stop killing people. I can't remember what it's called. If anyone remembers, let me know. Anyways, he's doing a new show, Steve Carell. Bill Lawrence is doing this one too, this time for HBO. Untitled comedy where a college campus, set on a college campus, and an author's complicated relationship with his daughter. That's very, very mysterious. The Jason universe. Ears perk up, horror fans, because the Jason universe is happening. Horror Inc., the original owners of the Friday the 13th film franchise, are expanding the Jason universe across entertainment, compromise of games, immersive experiences, merchandise, and more. One being, and this is probably why Brian Fuller got kicked off of the prequel series for Peacock, produced by A24. It's the prequel series, Camp Crystal Lake. I was very excited about it. Now, not as much. However, I love Jason, so I'm excited to see that they're like, you know what, guys? We know that people think that Jason... I fucking hate sequels and reboots and all of that. But when it comes to horror, especially a slasher horror, it's more fun to keep going. For instance, Chucky. All the Chucky films are fucking weird and awesome. And the show is weird and awesome. And I'm glad that it's so big. So I'm excited to see where they're going to take Jason in this universe. Dune Prophecy. Remember way back when I told you that Dune is having a spinoff series that's a prequel based off the sisterhood of the Ajay? I don't know how to speak Duneism. Well, the trailer dropped for Rebecca Ferguson isn't in it, but it is about 2 Harkonian sisters as they combat forces that threaten the future of humankind and establish the fabled sect that will become known as the Ben Gesserit. Ben Gesserit. You know what I'm saying. You saw the movie. I think that's pretty cool. I love Dune, and this show looks very well made, but in HBO's doing it. It looks like they were like, hey, let's do House of Dragon for Dune. That's what this looks like, but I'm down. Shogun is returning with seasons 2 and 3, which me and a friend from work found surprising because the first season's based off of a book. And there is a second book, but apparently it doesn't have the same characters. I'm not sure. But in any case, they're getting seasons 2 and 3. You can watch season 1 on Hulu right now. Mindy Kahling is producing and writing a comedy series with Kate Hudson at the forefront. I love Kate Hudson. It's called Running Point. It's about a female who is the president of the Los Angeles Waves, a professional basketball team. So, you know, female in a male-dominated world, I'm down. Just do better than you did with Velma season 2. Will Ferrel is starring in his own television series. It is a 10-episode-long series called Golf. It'll be showrun by Rami Youssef from Rami and is executive produced and starring Will Ferrel. He is going to be playing a fictional golf legend, so that's exciting. 3 Body Problem will return to finish out their series because apparently the wild shit that was in the first season is only the tip of the iceberg, and there is wilder shit that is yet to come. I'm very excited. If you haven't checked out the 3 Body Problem yet, check it out right now on Netflix. Oh, they announced the dates for certain MCU shows. The next one will be Agatha All Along, which will be flying onto the streamer on September 18th. 2 episodes will be available, and then it'll be weekly. DareDevil Born Again will be in March 2025, and IronHeart is also coming in 2025. We're just not sure when. Mr. and Mrs. Smith has been greenlit for a season 2 at Prime. I highly recommend watching the first season. However, the rumor is that Donald Glover and Maya Erskine, the stars of the first season, aren't going to be in season 2. And when you watch season 1, if you hear that and you didn't watch season 1, you're like, how are they going to do another show? If you watch the first season, it is very possible that they can center on different people. In fact, the show could be a anthological series. That would actually be pretty cool. I'm down for that. But the first season ended with such a cliffhanger that I'd rather them finish that tale. We'll see. The Boys will be, the new season's dropping, June 13th, 15th, something like that, in June. That's season 4. Guess what? They're already greenlit for season 5. Big surprise. And if you want to watch some, The Boys, come to the watch party June 1st. Conan, Must Go, season 2, greenlit. They're doing it. And finally, in news, actually, there's 2 more things, maybe 3. Only Murders in the Building will go from New York City to LA. That 90s show is going to be released in 2 parts. The first part is releasing June 27th. The second part's October 24th. Denis Leary's new show is happening called Going Dutch. I highly recommend to check out Rescue Me on Hulu right now. One of my favorite shows about New York City firefighters post 9/11. Legally Blonde spinoff series, executive produced by Reese Witherspoon, called Elle, is ordered by Amazon. Wizards of Waverly Place. Was never a Disney kid myself, but maybe you were. And Selena Gomez is going to be in the sequel. That's odd. I don't watch Wizards of Waverly Place. Oh! Weird. We'll talk about this only a little bit briefly. Did you know that there was a Dr. Dre Apple TV Plus series that was no more? And apparently they stopped it from airing because there was too much sex and violence in it. There's an orgy scene that they're like, we can't do this. I'm like, really? That's a thing? Orgies are a thing? No, I never knew that this was the thing. And I can't pull up the article. This was years ago. So look into that. I can't remember what it was called, but it was something that was kind of based on his real life. Sam Rockwell was in it. And Ian McShane was in it too. Super wild. I never knew about this, but check it out. This was going to be a segment called Popcorn Unpopped, but I don't have the article, so we're not doing that anymore. Some television shows that I'm watching in my rotation that I've already talked about, and I won't talk about at length. I'll just remind you, I am still finishing up Bodkin on Netflix, Poppin or Not. It's kind of popping for background. Dark Matter, really, really good. God damn it, it's over here. Dark Matter, really, really good mystery about a man who's abducted into an alternate version of his life, and to get back to his true family, he must go on a journey facing the most terrifying foe imaginable, himself. You can check this out on Apple TV. Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to do this for you guys. You can check this out on Apple TV Plus Wednesdays. There's 3 episodes out right now. The 3rd episode ended very, very good. It stars Joel Edgerton and Jennifer Connelly and Alice Brana. A Man in Full. I finished this. One of the wildest endings to anything I've ever watched. I recommend it for Regina King's episodes alone. She directed episodes 1, 5, and 6, which is half of the series. Episodes 2 and 3 and 4 were kind of boring. And my biggest complaint was our protagonist, who seems to be kind of a bad guy, never ever is winning in the show. He's just losing the whole time. So that was something that bothered me. But it's fun. It's got a really great cast. And the last scene is bonkers. Really dark, too. Funny, but dark. The Big Door Prize. Apple TV Plus Wednesdays. It's a feel-good show. You should check it out. Sympathizer on Max Sundays with Robert Downey Jr. Sugar is over. Check it out. It's about a PI in LA, except he has a secret which isn't revealed until episode 6. If you like Colin Farrell, it'll be easy for you to continue watching the show. However, as the show progresses, you're like, there's not really anything else to this show that I dig. They will throw something at you that completely changes the show and makes me extremely excited for season 2. Tales from the Empire still finishing. And Bad Batch still finishing. All right, the honorable mentions of the new films that came out this week that I didn't have time to watch, or I didn't watch, I didn't want to, that you may want to watch. For instance, Back to Black, the Amy Winehouse film about how she made the groundbreaking album Back to Black, is in theaters right now. I hear not great things about it, but I like Amy Winehouse a lot, so I'm very interested in it. In select films is I Saw the TV Glow, which stars Justice Smith as one of the two teenagers who bond over their love of supernatural television, but is mysteriously canceled. This looks like an indie strange film that I would be down to stream, but not go to theaters to watch. Babes, if you like Broad City, Alana Glazer stars as Eden, who becomes pregnant from a one-night stand and leans on her married best friend and mother of two to guide her. This is in select theaters right now. Night Watch, Demons Are Forever. I'm not going to go over that. If you got kids and you want to go to that underground cockfighting match that you've been putting off for a while, put them in front of the TV and turn on Thelma the Unicorn, which is about a unicorn. I'm sorry, it's about a pony who puts like glitter and shit and a horn on her and becomes a superstar. And her friend's like, you can't be, I miss you. You're a star, not this unicorn. She wouldn't have been a star. She didn't look like a unicorn. So Mixed Signals movie. Outer Range. I didn't watch this. I watched the first couple episodes and I did not like the show. But a season 2 is out, so maybe it's worth picking back up. Stars Josh Brolin as a rancher where a black hole opens in his backyard. What it does, I'll leave it up to you to watch, but I don't really like it too much. And Bridgerton season 3. All right, what's coming out next week? What are we going to be talking about? Let me tell you. Pretty good stuff. I'm pretty excited. All right. Furiosa, a Mad Max saga, which stars Anya Taylor-Joy as the younger Charlize Theron character that we met in Mad Max Fury Road. One of the best films ever, by the way. I love that film. I'm watching all the Mad Maxes right now for the first time besides Fury Road. Mad Max 1 was pretty good, but he's not really mad at it. He's mad at the end. Like the last 20 minutes, he's mad. Why he's mad? Very good reasoning. However, Poppin or not, do forecast. I think I know this movie won't be as good as Fury Road. I just know it. I think it will be enjoyable, but it's going to try too hard to capture Fury Road. And I think it'll be very prevalent when we see that. However, I am excited to watch this in theaters Thursday. You can watch the other Mad Maxes with me on Max right now. Mad Max 2, Road Warrior, Mad Max 3, which has Diana Ross, I think, as Beyond the Thunderdome, and Mad Max Fury Road, which stars Tom Hardy. I almost said Holland. Tom Hardy as Mad Max and Charlize Theron as Furiosa. Garfield movie. I can't believe they're making another one of these. I liked Garfield when I was a kid, but these movies, I don't know. I'm not going to tell you what it's about, except it's Garfield's voiced by Chris Pratt. But this was my reaction about the Super Mario Brothers. So who knows? Maybe they're like, hey, let's just do it again. It'll make $1 gajillion. I don't think so, but who knows? Maybe it will. This has Chris Pratt and Samuel L. Jackson. So that's something. And it was directed by the guy who did Chicken Little, which I really didn't care for personally. I know a lot of people like that film, though. But it was also directed by the guy who did Emperor's New Groove, a very, very, very great animated film. So maybe this will be good. So if you're looking to, go to your prostitution ring, if you're trying to take time away from the kids to go sleep with the prostitute, drop them off at the movie theater and tell them 2 tickets for a Garfield movie. Sight, not Psych, Sight, where you see, this is a religious film. I'm not going to go over it. I'm not interested, but if you're religious, you might be into it. It is directed by the guy who did The Blind. It's funny, now he does a movie called Sight. I don't know if this is part of a trilogy I don't know about. He also did Paul, the Apostle of Christ. It looks like a feel-good religious film, and I ain't hating on the religious folk. Streaming-wise, J-Lo will appear in, I forgot her name, will appear in a sci-fi action movie called Atlas, which is about a brilliant data analyst with a deep distrust of AI, an AI film, who finds it might be her only hope when a mission to capture a renegade robot goes awry. This is directed by Brad Payton, which has me pause. Resume. Because he directed Cats and Dogs 2, Revenge of Kitty Galore, Journey 2 with The Rock, which I hear is very good, San Andreas with The Rock, and Rampage with The Rock. I actually kind of liked Rampage. I think someone else can do a better adaptation of the video game, but I thought it was all right. Anyways, Poppin or not, I think it'll be enjoyable in like that J-Lo action movie type of way. Her last one, where she was a mother protecting her kid in the cabin in the woods, was really good. So maybe this one will be good too. On television, we have, I didn't add the banner because this was like just announced. The next South Park movie, but South Park special, will be on Paramount Plus this Friday. South Park, The End of Obesity. Guess what it's about? You were right. Ozempic. I'm pretty excited. I love South Park. Also in television, I might try to have this on in the background forever and a day because I've always been interested in this show, Evil. Their final season premieres on Paramount Plus this Thursday. It's about a skeptical clinical psychologist who joins a priest in training and a blue-collar contractor as they investigate supposed abnormal events, including, but not limited to, demonic possession and other extraordinary occurrences, to see if there's a scientific explanation or if something truly supernatural is at work. This stars Katja Herbers, who I know from Westworld Season 2. I fell in love with her. She is a looker. And Mike Coulter, who played Luke Cage. I'm excited. I'm going to try this show. I've always wanted to try it. The first 3 seasons are on Prime for some fucking reason. And the new season will start Paramount Plus Thursday. Trying. This is a feel-good show with Rafe Spell. I've talked about it before, so I'm not going to talk about it now. My Adventures with Superman, which is on Adult Swim Saturdays. I've heard it's a pretty good animated adaptation of Superman. I think it's for the family, but they have it on Adult Swim, so I'm confused. If you're looking to go do cocaine with the boys, but your stupid kids won't leave the room, tell them to go in the living room and put on Fairly Odd Parents, A New Wish, which is on Netflix right now. The Kardashians is on Hulu Thursday. That's how much I love you guys. I'll tell you about shit that I don't give a fuck about. Beach Boys documentary on Disney Plus Friday. And don't forget, June 1st, we'll be talking about The Boys. And we'll be watching The Boys. The first episode, June 1st, 10:30 p.m. at the Black Box Theater. Free viewing, free pop, free drinks, free prizes, free fun. Thank you so much for tuning in to Popcorn Poppin' Live. I am your host, the Popcorn Poppy. Join us next week for the birthday extravaganza episode. We'll be looking at Furiosa, other Mad Max films, and maybe have a guest or two. C'est la vie. Bonsoir. Bon nuit.